Want to master English? Don't scroll. This might help you.
Hello, grade 10s. Welcome to our class of Mastering English with us. I am Spesihle Mangnele and I'm not alone. I am with my colleagues Vuyiswa Ngidi and Flora Makuluva, whom you will see later on this video. Now, today's lesson is mainly based on the topic of assonance and alliteration. Remember, assonance and alliteration fall under part of speech. Now, the common thing about these two is that they both have to do with sounds, just that the other one is with consonants while the other one is with vowels. Now, let's find out about these. Assonance is the repetition of vowel tones in a set of words and in a quick succession. A good example of assonance will be she bought Bonnie Boas beta butter to use with beta. Do you remember what we said about assonance? They are a repetition of vowel tones. Notice from this example that I just given. She bought Bonnie Boas beta butter to use with beta. These examples serves to prove just that. Now let's look at an example of alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonants and consonant sounds in a series of at least two neighboring words. Another example of alliteration will be there is a pack of pickled peppers that Paul picked. From the example of alliteration that I just given, do you notice the repetition of consonants and consonant sounds? They are mostly used in poetry, where you find that a poem is rhyming according to consonants and consonant sounds, while the other one is rhyming with vowels. Now, for the next 30 seconds, I will give you a chance to write down your own example of consonants and alliteration. Okay, grade 10, that was it from me. Vuyiswa is coming up with more from this lesson.
Hi everyone, I am Miss Gidi and I'll be sharing with you the definitions of what is an assonance and what is an alliteration as they are part of speech. So in an assonance, when we talk about an assonance, we refer to a literary technique where the same or similar vowel sound is repeated. It is repeated in any part of the word. It is often used in poetry or any narrative prose to create an atmosphere and reading. So for an example of an assonance, we can take a phrase that says that the kind night rides between the trees. In this phrase, there is a repetition of E in almost every word. So we can take that as an example of assonance. And in this phrase, he rowed the boat. This phrase uses the O sound twice, which can represent an assonance as an example. So moving on to an alliteration. When we talk of alliteration, we talk of the repetition of usually initial consonants, sounds in two or more neighboring words or syllabuses. For an example, we have good, grief. In good grief, there is a repetition of a consonant sound G. And when we're moving on to the next example, red rose, there is also a repetition of R in this words, which represents an example of alliteration.
Progressing from what we've been taught, grade 10s, let's now work with what we've learned. So we've selected two poems, one that we'll be looking at an assonance and the other one we'll be looking at an alliteration. So let's start with the one that we'll be looking at an assonance on. The poem goes like, she sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. For if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore shells. From that poem, we can see the repetition of vowel E, and somewhere there are repetitions of vowel E and A. So that can be taken as an example of an assonance, because we've been taught that an assonance is a repetition of vowel sounds. Moving over to the second poem, we'll be looking at an alliteration. This goes like tigers. Tim, the terrifying tiger, tiptoes through tangled trees, his twitching tail tramping, his terrible teeth terrifying turtles who tumble away. So from this poem, we can see that there is a repetition of a consonant sound T in each and every word. It starts with a letter T, which can be an example of an alliteration, because we've been taught that alliteration is the repetition of the consonant sound in every beginning of the word. So this can be taken as the example of an alliteration. So moving over, let's give Miss McAluva an opportunity to give us the differences between what is an alliteration and what is an assonance. As we have gotten the definition and examples of the two, now Miss McAluva is gonna get into more deeper details about these two, and then so that you can get a clear picture as you'll be writing an activity on this lesson on the end of the video.
Thank you.
My name is Kuliva and I'm going to continue off whereby my colleague left off. Today we're going to discuss the difference between alliteration and assonance, as they can be similar but they have differences between them. Assonance involves the repetition of only vowel sounds. Vowel sounds only. Alliteration involves the repetition of vowel sounds or consonant sounds. Assonance can occur anywhere in the word, whereas alliteration in contrast occurs on the first syllables of the words or on the stressed syllables of the words. These are our vowels: the A, the E, the I, the O, and the U. And then our consonants are the rest of the alphabet letters, excluding the vowels. We have our B, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Examples we have for alliteration show the repetition of consonant sounds. We have she sells seashells by the seashore. We see the repetition of the S sound. And then we have Dunkin' Donuts, whereby we see the repetition of the consonant sound of D. And then we have here Cherry cooks in the kitchen, whereby we have the repetition of consonant sounds and what? A stressed syllable here at the start of this word. And then on assonance, we have chips and dips. We have the repetition of the vowel of I and I here. We have surf and turf, whereby we have the repetition of the vowel of U on these words. And then on the next example, we have do good, have good, whereby we have the repetition of these vowels here. And then on the last example, we have she eats the sweet treats. These vowels are being repeated in this way. And this goes to show that on assonance, there can be a repetition anywhere in the word. As you can see here, whereby the vowels are repeated within the words. And on alliteration, the repetition happens only at the start of the words.
Now, can you please pause the video and try completing this activity?
Thank you, boys and girls, for watching the video on our lesson about the difference between assonance and alliteration. I hope this video helps you a lot. And the memo for the question you just answered are at the end of this video. Bye.
If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe.